What if the love story everyone admired wasn't as perfect as it seemed? You won't believe how fast everything changed. For years, people looked at Travis and Jackie Greene as the golden couple of gospel music. They were the image of love, faith, and strength. Together, they built a ministry that touched hearts across the world. People would say, if any marriage shows God's love, it's theirs. But here's the shocking part. Behind the smiles, something was breaking. Destiny took an unexpected turn, and what once looked like a picture of peace slowly started to fall apart. Travis Greene was known not just for his songs, but for his story. Every lyric he wrote had meaning. Songs like Intentional and Made a Way weren't just hits, they were testimonies of faith. He had faced near death experiences, and people admired how he always gave God the glory. Jackie, on the other hand, was his quiet strength. She was calm, gentle, and full of grace. Together, they made people believe that love built on faith could survive anything. They led worship together, preached together, prayed together. Every Sunday, thousands would watch them on stage and think, this is what a godly marriage looks like. But this is where it gets interesting. The pressure of fame and ministry wasn't easy. Every decision they made was watched. Every word, every post, every sermon was judged. And even though they kept smiling, cracks began to form, tiny at first, then deep enough to shake their peace. Jackie had always been strong, but sometimes strength hides pain. She stood by Travis through sleepless nights, endless tours, and the burden of leading a growing church. What no one saw was how heavy it was for her to carry that image of perfection. Still, they pressed on. They told their followers to trust God, to fight for their marriages, to keep believing. And people did. But inside their own home, things were not the same. Travis had been feeling distant, drained, and unsure. He would still lead worship, still sing with passion, but deep down, he felt empty. The expectations of being a pastor, a musician, and a role model had left him spiritually tired. And as time passed, that distance between him and Jackie grew. They loved each other, but something was missing, the peace they used to have. Then came the day that no one expected. During a live conversation about faith and truth, Travis looked uneasy. Fans tuned in, expecting encouragement, but instead, they saw a man holding back tears. Let me tell you, his next words changed everything. He said he had been carrying a secret burden for years, one that had slowly eaten away at his peace and affected his marriage. His voice shook as he admitted that even though he preached healing to others, he had ignored his own brokenness. I've spent years helping others find peace while losing my own, he said softly. The craziest part? He said it live, in front of thousands, while Jackie watched from home. You won't believe how fast it spread. Social media exploded. People started sharing clips, writing comments, and asking the same question. What did he really mean? Was it just emotional pain, or was there something more? Fans who once praised him began to doubt him. Some said it was brave for a man of God to be honest. Others said he had destroyed the image of holiness. And while everyone was talking, Jackie remained silent. No posts, no statements, just silence. But here's the shocking part. Sources close to the couple said Jackie already knew about his struggles before the confession. She had been praying for him, standing with him, believing for healing. But hearing him say it publicly for the whole world to hear hit differently. It was as if all the emotions she had buried for years came crashing down at once. The pain wasn't just about what he said, it was about what it meant. It meant their private wounds were now public. A few days later, during a small private gathering at their church, Jackie was seen smiling faintly. She looked tired but calm. She prayed with others, said a few encouraging words, but her eyes told another story. Friends noticed she seemed distant, as if her mind was far away. Then, in the middle of a prayer, Jackie placed her hand on her heart, whispered something softly, and suddenly lost her balance. Panic spread instantly. People screamed her name. They rushed to help her. Moments later, she collapsed completely. Paramedics were called. Travis, who was nearby, arrived just in time to see her being lifted into an ambulance. It was chaos. The news broke within hours. Headlines read, Jackie Greene collapses after Travis's shocking confession. The gospel community went silent. For a woman known for her strength, her fall felt symbolic, like the moment her body finally gave up carrying years of hidden pain. In the days that followed, everything around the Greene seemed to move in slow motion. Travis kept preaching, but his words sounded heavier than before. His once bright smile looked tired, his voice a little shakier. He spoke about forgiveness and grace, about how even the strongest believers can fall. But deep inside, everyone knew something had changed forever. Jackie was recovering quietly, away from the public eye. She didn't post anything online, didn't attend services, and didn't make any statements. For someone who had always been a visible part of the ministry, her silence was louder than any words. Let me tell you, the rumors didn't stop there. People began to dig deeper, searching for meaning behind Travis's confession. What did he really mean by burden? Was it infidelity? Was he hiding something darker? The gospel world, usually filled with songs and sermons, suddenly turned into a swirl of whispers and judgment. But here's the shocking part. No one actually knew the full truth. Everyone had a version, but none of them were complete. Some claimed that Travis had admitted to emotional weakness, not betrayal. Others believed there was more behind his tearful confession than he was willing to share. Meanwhile, Jackie's friends started speaking quietly to the media. One close friend revealed that Jackie had been carrying silent pain for years, the kind that doesn't show in photos or on stage. She had been the emotional backbone of their marriage, holding everything together while Travis traveled and led worship around the world. The pressure to appear perfect, to smile when your heart is breaking, had taken its toll. Destiny took an unexpected turn once again when Jackie fainted that night. It was her body saying what her heart had been feeling for years. This is where it gets interesting. Even as fans prayed for her recovery, some people started leaving their church. Attendance at Forward City Church dropped suddenly. The atmosphere felt tense. Some members said they couldn't focus on worship anymore because every sermon sounded like an explanation. Others defended Travis, saying that he was human and that honesty was part of healing. But one thing was clear. Something sacred had been shaken. Travis tried his best to keep the ministry alive. He would walk on stage, close his eyes, and sing like he always did. But there was a new sadness in his songs. He talked more about pain, about how grace sometimes hurts, and about how God still works even when we feel broken. People could feel his words were coming from a place of real struggle. Yet, behind that courage, guilt was written all over his face. The man who once inspired others to overcome was now fighting his own storm. And Jackie, she spent her days in quiet reflection. She didn't attend services for weeks. Her friend said she started going for faith-based therapy and long walks alone. She was trying to rebuild herself piece by piece. Her social media stayed silent, except for one cryptic post weeks later. It was a simple photo of a sunrise with the caption, "New mercies every morning." Fans flooded the comments asking if she was okay, but she never replied. That silence only made people more curious. You won't believe how divided people became. Some accused Travis of betraying her trust. Others praised him for being transparent. The controversy turned into headlines across gospel blogs. Every new article added fuel to the fire. Some even claimed Jackie had moved out temporarily, though no one could confirm it. The church tried to calm things down, asking for prayers, not opinions. But once a story like this catches attention, it spreads like wildfire. What makes this story different is how deeply it touched everyone watching. It wasn't just gossip. It was a mirror. People saw their own pain in Jackie's silence and their own weakness in Travis's confession. It reminded them that faith leaders, too, are human, that even the strongest marriages can face moments of breaking. The craziest part, many couples in their church started opening up about their own struggles after the incident. It was as if Jackie's collapse broke not just her silence, but everyone else's too. Travis began holding small prayer meetings again. He often stood in front of the crowd, tears in his eyes, saying, "Sometimes God has to break us to rebuild us." The church would go quiet. You could feel the tension, admiration mixed with disappointment. And still, Jackie wasn't there. Her absence spoke louder than his sermons. Every seat she once sat in looked emptier than before. But here's where things took another unexpected twist. Just when everyone thought the worst was over, Travis gave another interview. This time he looked more nervous than ever. People expected him to clear the air, to finally tell the truth behind his confession. Instead, what he said left everyone speechless once again. When the camera started rolling for that new interview, the air felt heavy. Travis sat quietly for a moment before speaking, his eyes fixed on the floor. Everyone watching could sense that something big was coming. He took a deep breath and said softly, "Sometimes the truth hurts more when it comes late." You won't believe what came next. He admitted that his confession had only been the surface, that there was more behind it than people had imagined. But here's the shocking part. He didn't confess to betrayal in the way people thought. He revealed that his real struggle had been emotional distance, hidden depression, and a deep sense of failure that had been eating him alive for years. He said that after years of leading worship, praying for others, and staying strong in public, he had forgotten how to take care of his own soul. "I was trying to save everyone else while drowning quietly inside," he said. "And in that process, I pushed away the one person who never stopped loving me." His words broke the silence. The host looked stunned. Viewers flooded the comment section with messages, some full of sympathy, others full of anger. This is where it gets interesting. People expected drama, but what they got was a man finally admitting he wasn't perfect. Yet still, not everyone was ready to forgive him. Jackie, who had been quiet all this time, watched the interview from home, according to those close to her. A friend later said that she cried the entire time. For years, she had been waiting for Travis to open up, not to the world, but to her. But hearing him finally pour his heart out on camera felt bittersweet. Destiny took another unexpected turn because while his words were meant to heal, they also reopened wounds that had never truly closed. After that interview, something began to shift. People started seeing their story differently. It wasn't just a scandal anymore, it was a lesson. Fans who had judged them began to post messages of support. "They're human too," one comment read. "Maybe this is what real faith looks like. Messy, painful, but honest." Still, others couldn't move on from the idea that a man of God had let his private struggles hurt his family so deeply. Travis, aware of the mixed reactions, stepped back from public events for a while. He stopped performing, stopped traveling, and focused on rebuilding what fame had almost destroyed: his home. He began attending counseling with Jackie. Friends who visited said he was quieter now, more humble and more attentive. He often spent evenings just talking with his children or sitting with Jackie, trying to find their rhythm again. Let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Forgiveness isn't quick, especially when pain runs deep. But this is where it gets interesting. Even through all that hurt, Jackie didn't give up on her faith. She started slowly returning to church, not to the pulpit, but to the back row. People would see her quietly praying, tears in her eyes, hands lifted high. She said nothing publicly, but her presence alone spoke volumes. Many saw her as a symbol of grace under fire. The craziest part? Her silence began to heal people more than any sermon could. Women in the congregation began to open up about their own hidden struggles: pastors' wives, choir members, ordinary believers. They said if Jackie could still stand after everything, maybe they could too. Meanwhile, Travis began to write again, Late at night, in the quiet of their home, he would sit at his piano and create melodies that sounded like sorrow turning into peace. Insiders said his next album would be his most personal one yet, filled with songs about confession, redemption, and healing. But not everyone believed this was the end of their storm. Some blogs continued to question the real reason behind the confession. A few even claimed that more secrets were still buried. Travis refused to address them. Instead, he said one sentence that became viral overnight. The truth isn't always what people expect. Sometimes it's what they need. But here's where things took a deeper turn. Even though the public started to calm down, inside their home, the healing was still a battle. Jackie had forgiven him, but trust doesn't rebuild overnight. There were quiet days, heavy days, and moments when she wanted to walk away. But she didn't. One close friend shared that Jackie often said, "If God hasn't finished with us yet, I won't either." Those words became her strength. Their story slowly began shifting from controversy to testimony. But what makes this story different is how real it became. Not a fairy tale, not a perfect marriage, but a journey of two people learning to start again after breaking apart. People who once followed them for their music now followed them for their resilience. Churches across the country started using their story as an example in sermons, proof that even leaders bleed. The new rumor started small, just a few online posts, a few whispers in gospel circles, but within days, it exploded everywhere. People began saying that Jackie and Travis were preparing to make a joint public statement. At first, nobody believed it. For months, the two had stayed silent, apart in public and cautious in words. But when a short video teaser appeared on Forward City Church's social media page showing both of them sitting side by side, holding hands, everything stopped. You won't believe how quickly the internet reacted. The couple everyone thought had fallen apart was about to speak together again, and everyone wanted to know what they would say. The day of the interview arrived, and thousands tuned in. The live chat was flooded with comments before they even said a word. Travis looked nervous, his hands clasped tightly. Jackie sat next to him, calm but serious. For the first few moments, they both stayed silent. Then Jackie spoke first, her voice soft but strong. "We've both made mistakes," she said, "but this is how we've chosen to heal, together." That one sentence changed the whole atmosphere. People leaned closer to their screens, waiting for what would come next. Travis then admitted that his confession had caused deep hurt, not only to Jackie, but also to the people who trusted him as a leader. He said he wished he had handled things differently, that some truths should be shared privately before being spoken publicly. But here's the shocking part. He also said that his confession had saved his life. "I thought honesty would destroy me," he said, "but it became the only thing that could free me." Jackie nodded, her eyes welling up with tears. She added softly, "Sometimes God lets everything fall apart so he can rebuild it his way." This is where it gets interesting. Instead of focusing on the pain, they spoke about redemption. They said that therapy, prayer, and long nights of truth-telling had helped them face what fame had hidden. Jackie said she had learned that strength doesn't mean silence. It means speaking even when your voice shakes. Travis said he had learned that being a leader doesn't mean pretending to be perfect. It means admitting when you need grace too. The craziest part, people didn't mock them this time. They cried with them. The same followers who had once criticized them now filled the chat with hearts and prayers. After that interview, something shifted across the gospel community. For the first time, people began talking openly about emotional burnout, marriage struggles, and the pressure of living under the spotlight. Pastors started holding healing sessions for ministry couples. Church members began checking in on their leaders instead of just expecting strength from them. Jackie and Travis didn't just rebuild their marriage, they started a conversation that changed how people looked at faith and weakness. Destiny took its final unexpected turn when Travis released a new song just a few months later. It was called Pieces. The lyrics spoke about losing everything only to find grace in the broken parts. The song went viral not because it was catchy, but because it was real. Jackie appeared in the music video standing beside him, not as a picture of perfection, but as proof of survival. Fans who watched said it felt like watching two hearts heal in front of them. Let me tell you, their story didn't end with a fairy tale. They still had scars, still had quiet days, still had moments when the past hurt to remember. But what made their story different was that they didn't hide it anymore. They turned their pain into purpose. Jackie began speaking to women in churches about emotional health and faith under pressure. Travis continued to write songs that reflected real struggles instead of just victories. Together, they showed that faith isn't about never falling. It's about what you do after you've fallen. And that's where it all came full circle. The couple who once stood as a perfect image of faith became something even stronger, a real example of grace. The world had seen their rise, their fall, and their redemption, their confession, their pain, their healing. It all became a reminder that behind every perfect picture, there's a story of brokenness that God can still use. The craziest part, in losing the image everyone admired, they finally found the peace they had been chasing all along.